Younger kids are dealing with another set of stresses, from grade schoolers who want to learn but struggle to connect with their teacher through a screen.
Connect through their teachers with the screen. So she literally said, okay, so when Donald Trump supports opening up the schools, she has a problem with it because there's not a plan to keep people safe, even though she can't even provide a legitimate plan herself. And then right after that, okay, literally right after that, she's complaining that students are, distance learning. So it's like either way, if Donald Trump wants to do more distance learning and less, opening up in schools in person, she's going to blame Trump for that. But if he does the exact opposite, okay, Michelle Obama's still going to blame Trump for that. So we already know she's literally making absolutely no fucking sense. We already know regardless she's going to be against Trump, and we'll never give Trump credit because this is all about politics. So that she's only going to overly exemplify the negatives and of course make it seem like it's all Trump's fault without even telling the fucking truth.
To schools that open and close with little advance notice, leaving everyone in an endless cycle of uncertainty. Too many.
Yeah, that's the school's fault. Okay, that's literally the school's decision. Why are you attributing it to being Trump's fault?
Parents are still juggling 2 jobs and multiple kids without any support. Not to mention the millions of families anxious about making rent or getting internet access or affording childcare. It's painful to think that.
Yes, and the more that we close down this country and the more that we impose lockdowns, the same lockdowns that Joe Biden himself wants, and the same lockdowns that Donald Trump is fighting against, the more lockdowns you have, the more people are going to be at home financially struggling. So if you're attributing this to being Donald Trump's fault, that makes absolutely no fucking sense because he's literally trying to do the exact opposite of what's causing all of the problems that she's complaining about.
Months into this crisis, this is still where we are, with no clear plan, no peace of mind. And the worst part is, it didn't have to be like this.
Yes, it didn't have to be like this, but instead you have corrupt Democrat governors who want to continue to lock down the entire country or lock down their entire state for absolutely no legitimate reason. Okay, and she wants to make it seem like, oh, we have to lock down the country, or, a lot of other Democrats try to make it seem like, oh, we need to lock down the country, to keep people safe. But that makes absolutely no fucking sense, and you want to attribute that only to be Donald Trump's fault, when we already know that I keep on saying this, over half of the coronavirus deaths in this country are from 2 states, which is California and New York, and that's literally where there's Democrat governors who are horribly running their states, closing down everything, and then putting a bunch of people in nursing homes, and they completely die from the coronavirus. So if you want to attribute everything to being Donald Trump's fault, you have to blame the governors first, and you have to blame people. If you want to blame schools, you have to blame the schools themselves first. Okay, this makes absolutely no fucking sense. Donald Trump has done all he can do at this fucking point, and she's trying to steer the blame all the way to Trump without even, bringing in any context or any solution.
Look around the world.
And once again, she keeps on trying to emotionally manipulate her audience. This is something that she's doing over and over again because that's the only way to make it seem like she knows what she's talking about.
So many other countries aren't experiencing.
Okay, here we go again. Okay, she's trying to make it so she literally is trying to make it seem like the United States, as it pertains to the coronavirus, is the worst country in the world. Like, oh, Donald Trump, if he was just his leadership, every other country in this world is doing great. That makes absolutely no fucking sense because obviously we're number 1 in testing. We literally have the best medical care system in this entire fucking world. You know what I'm saying? And of course, we have the most cases in the entire world because a lot of people are coming into this country, flying into this country, before Trump banned travel when he did so. But we already know she's trying to make it seem like every other country in the world, everything's perfectly fine except for the United States. That makes absolutely no fucking sense. So when you look at, countries like China, they literally completely opened up everything, okay? And they're most likely manipulating their numbers to make it seem like they have less cases than they have. Same thing with plenty of other countries. And of course, there's plenty of other countries in the world that are dealing with this coronavirus nonsense. So it's just that other countries are deciding to open up a lot quicker than we are. So that literally can only be attributed to poor Democrat leadership. And she's trying to make it seem like it's all Trump's fault.
This level of extended suffering and uncertainty.
Yes, this is because of Democrats. This is because of Democrat policy.
These countries were hit by the same virus as we were. They had the same kind of resources to contain it as we did.
Yes, and the United States had better resources. It's just that Democrat governors are throwing people in nursing homes and killing them off to make it seem like Trump is the one that's doing all of this. And they're constantly closing down their states, which is subsequently causing all the problems that she's complaining about.
But what they didn't have to contend with was this
Donald
president.
Trump. Yep. She's going to try to make it seem like it's Trump's fault.
A man who had every resource at his disposal.
Yes, he had plenty of resources at his disposal, and he took advantage of that, and you're trying to make it seem like it's all Trump's fault when you should be blaming the governors themselves.
The finest medical experts, our best intelligence.
Yes.
And yet ignored all the advice.
He did not ignore all of the advice. So we already know she's just completely speaking in generalities. Plenty of evidence can prove this wrong. Okay, Trump has done everything he could to extend the fact that we have all the medical resources we have by increasing funding to the CDC and the FDA and doing all of this crazy shit, banning travel, and everything she's complaining about can all be attributed to the governors in the states and the cities themselves. And so she's literally complaining about things that are caused by Democrat policy, while unironically actually, trying to make it seem like we have to vote for the same people that are causing all of these problems. This makes absolutely no fucking sense. And we're back with the third part, okay, with another part of this video. And of course, I'm going to break this up into two parts. So I'm going to be reacting to 2 more minutes of this nonsensical, ridiculous, okay, video. So I'm kind of getting tired of this because she's once again using the same exact tactics that I've been saying for the longest time, even back when she made the DNC speech, which is obviously, as I said, appeals to emotion without factually proving anything she believes in or anything that she's saying, and of course trying to blame Donald Trump for something that is actually within the responsibility of Democrat governors and schools themselves, you know, trying to make it seem like it's, you know, all Trump's fault, when in reality other people have jobs to do and they had to do those jobs, but in trying to make it seem like the United States is the worst in the world just because of the Donald Trump, without even looking into the context of the situation or providing any facts. So we already know I'm going to be reacting to the last 2-minute video.
But let's be very real. America is divided right now. And
Yes, and you're the reason why it's continuing to be divided.
a lot of people are being sold lies from those who want to get rich or stay in power, or sometimes both.
Yes, and that's exactly what so I actually agree with what she's saying right here, okay? Democrat politicians are, of course, using political rhetoric to continue to keep their power and, of course, continue to advance their own personal political, nonsense that they're trying to maintain. And, of course, they're going to use that and, go on social media and, of course, make it seem like Donald Trump is the problem in this country just to gain more political power, which is, of course, what they're doing on a continual basis. Democrat politicians for the most part.
And as I've said before, we must all empathize with those who might not look like us or vote like us. We have got to put ourselves in one another's shoes.
And we know damn well that Michelle Obama is not going to be doing any of that anytime soon, because she's literally trying to antagonize, and she's been doing it for the longest time, trying to antagonize half of this country like she did in the DNC speech. And she's once again going to most likely antagonize the vast majority of people who support Trump, because we don't align with her false narrative that she's trying to perpetuate upon the ignorant people that actually take her seriously and actually believe what she's saying.
You've worked hard all your life, and for too long you've watched the rich get richer. You've lost your farms and your livelihoods to corporate greed.
Okay, so who is she talking to? Okay, if she actually thinks that this is applying to all Americans, she is completely wrong. Because when Donald Trump became president, the economy boomed. Okay, literally the economy reached levels that it never has been before in the history of this country. The average person's hourly wages went up. The economy's gotten better. More jobs are being created. More people were getting jobs. Infrastructure's that, better than it was in a very long fucking time. The stock market was reaching higher levels than it ever has in the history of this country. Unemployment was reaching lower than it has been in 50 years. And you want to make it seem like in Trump's America, the rich is just getting richer, when in reality, the economy is getting better for literally every single person in this country. Whether you own a business, whether you're rich, if you take advantage of economic opportunities, you're in a better position than you were ever in the history of this country. And statistics literally prove everything I just said right. But of course she's going to make it seem like, the economy was just horrible and the rich was getting richer, when the facts completely prove her wrong. And this is just one-sided nonsense in the absence of any available truth to prove her point.
You've seen your beloved towns shattered by joblessness.
Yes, shattered by Democrat policy that forces everyone to close everything.
You've watched
But you want to make it seem like it's all Trump's fault.
families destroyed by drug addiction and mental health challenges.
Okay, what does this have to do with Donald Trump? What does this have to do with Donald Trump? Okay, she's literally trying to make it seem like we should hold Trump responsible for people's mental health problems. This makes absolutely no fucking sense. Is this how far she's actually going to go with this Trump derangement syndrome nonsense? This makes absolutely no sense.
And distract from his breathtaking failures by giving folks someone to blame other than them.
And that's exactly what Michelle Obama's doing. That's literally exactly what she's doing in this entire speech. Instead of blaming Democrat policy, because half of the things, pretty much everything she's complaining about can be attributed to her either talking about problems that are not really an issue, or she's just trying to blame Trump for something that Democrats are imposing on people and trying to shift the blame to make it seem like it's Trump. So once again, liberals, Democrats are the masters of projection. They accuse everyone else of what they are guilty of themselves.
They're stoking fears about Black and brown Americans, lying about how minorities will destroy the suburbs.
What are you talking about? Okay, so she's literally making a reference, okay, to the people that are rioting and looting. This literally has nothing to do with skin color. So of course she's gonna, play race identity politics, try to make it seem like it's only because of race, when we already know that there's literal domestic terrorists that are burning down cities, and she refused to denounce it in the last one. So I'm not surprised she's doing it again. She's literally refusing to denounce domestic terrorism, and this makes absolutely no fucking sense. Okay, this literally makes absolutely no fucking sense. It has nothing to do with skin color. And if you actually look into the context of what she's talking about, the people that are causing the violence, they're either BLM terrorists, okay, most BLM terrorists, and then you have Antifa terrorists. Most of these people are white, okay? So it literally has nothing to do with skin color. And you literally have BLM themselves literally say that they're going to go into the suburbs and destroy the suburbs, and try to destroy this entire country, basically, because this country is founded off of white supremacy. You have black militias, since you want to bring up skin color, you have black militias claiming that they're going to do the same thing. So this has nothing to do with the fact that they're black or their skin color. It has to do with the fact that the actions that they're causing, which is of course the essence of domestic terrorism. And she's trying to downplay that. She wants to talk about Trump downplaying things. She's trying to downplay domestic terrorism to make it seem like everything is Trump's fault and everything is racist. So you can't criticize terrorists that are literally vowing to destroy this country without being considered racist. So this makes no sense.
Whipping up violence and intimidation.
That's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing.
And they're pinning it all on what's been an overwhelmingly peaceful movement.
Overwhelmingly peaceful movement. She literally just said on this video, okay, that most of these people that are causing violence, because she's obviously referring to the people that are causing violence, she's literally trying to imply that these people are mostly peaceful protesters. This makes absolutely no fucking sense. We know damn well, okay, she's brought up plenty of times where she brought up white supremacy, Charlottesville, when you already know that was an incident that happened 3 years ago, okay? White supremacy is not a legitimate problem facing this country, but she's going to completely, over-exemplify the white supremacy thing, but she's going to completely downplay all of the domestic terrorism in this country that's literally burning down cities for 4 months straight nonstop, and she wants to make it seem like it's all our fault, everything is our fault, okay? Literally, everything is our fault. Just because, we actually point out domestic terrorism and want to stop it. And it's a great thing that we have a president that also wants to stop it and will stop it the worse it actually happens within the next few months when he gets reelected.
For racial solidarity. It's true. Research backs it up. Only a tiny fraction of demonstrations have had any violence at all.
Are you kidding me? Okay, we already know she has no idea what she's talking about. And of course, she's going to try to compare protests in generals to riots. She's trying to conflate protests with riots to downplay the riots that are actually happening. When you have Portland burning down for 4 months straight, when you have people literally, saying they're going to go into the suburbs, some people actually go into the suburbs and try to cause violence, you actually have a lot of these people protesting, rioting all over the fucking place within the past 4 fucking months. And she's trying to conflate that with protests. No, okay, we're not saying that the protests were bad. We're literally saying that the people that are causing riots are bad and we need to stop it. That's simply all we're saying, but she's trying to downplay that by comparing it to protests, which makes no sense.
So what the president is doing is once again patently false. It's morally wrong. And yes, it is racist.
No, it is not racist. Pointing out domestic terrorism is not racist, but we already know she's going to call everything she doesn't like racist to gain votes for no reason.
But that doesn't mean it won't work. Because this is a difficult time, a confusing time.
Yes, it's a confusing time, and people like you are making it even more confusing by downplaying all the domestic terrorism that's going on in this country and falsely accusing everyone that criticizes you or the riots that are happening racist with no evidence.
And when people hear these lies and crazy conspiracies repeated...
She literally spent this entire time coming up with crazy conspiracies about the future and the past of this country.
Over and over and over again, they don't know what to think. With everything going on in their lives, they don't have time to fact-check falsehoods being spread throughout the internet.
Yes, I completely agree with her on that. But of course, ironically, because all the fact checkers in this country and all the people spreading propaganda in this country are people on the left, okay? People that are liberals, the entire Democratic Party, they're simply spreading false information to make it seem like, okay, people on the right, conservatives are horrible people and Trump is a horrible person with absolutely no fucking evidence. So I agree with her, but of course it's the other way around. She's trying to make it seem like Trump is the one spreading misinformation when she herself and plenty of other people on the left are spreading misinformation on a continual basis to antagonize half of this country. And she's doing it herself, trying to antagonize half of this country while literally claiming in the same video that she wants unity.
And even reasonable people might get scared. And the ones
Yes, reasonable people are scared because of all the violence that's happening in this entire country, and we want to stop it, which is why we're going to vote for Donald Trump, okay? And you are not being reasonable since you're coming up with all these ridiculous conspiracy theories, and you're not even, coming up with any factual evidence to prove anything you're saying, and of course just trying to appeal to emotion to manipulate undecided voters for absolutely no legitimate reason. But this is clearly not going to fucking work, and I don't know what she thought, okay? She's literally repeating the ridiculous narrative, trying to emotionally manipulate her audience. It's only going to appeal to people that are already Democrats and people that are already radical leftists, okay? This isn't going to appeal to the undecided voters.
thing this president is really, really good at is using fear and confusion and spreading lies to win.
And that's exactly what you are trying to do, and that's exactly what the Democratic Party has done for the past few fucking months, and that's the entire narrative that you're pairing. So I keep on saying it over and over again, Donald Trump just wants law and order to stop violence, but Democrats are trying to confuse his actual message and conflate it with racism with absolutely no legitimate evidence, so they themselves can try to confuse everything that's actually going on to advance their political narrative. So this makes absolutely no fucking sense. So that was just my quick little reaction to this video. This is going to be a very long reaction video, but tell me what you think in the comment section of this shit. It's your boy, Sauceman. I'm checking the fucking out of your piece.